is the Bat Brand. How you beautiful people doing today? Hope you guys are having an excellent Monday. Hopefully it's not crappy like mine has been. Uh, but I also I'm here today to talk about the NFL Week 3 live. I'm going to start doing this every week like I should be doing. I want to first of all apologize. Last week I didn't do it. I was gone in Bedford all weekend. Hey Maxwell, how's it going, man? You came in on a great live stream vlog kind of thing. If you're a fan of any NFL team, please put down in the chat below who you are a fan of. If you're not, that's fine. I'm going to be on here talking about some games that we had yesterday, my thoughts on them, and as being a Bears fan, I'm going to talk about that a little bit. And tonight, the Steelers and the Buccaneers. I believe in Fitzmagic, but I'm going to get into that. He's Conor McGregor disguised as a football player, mate. I'm playing two different sports. That's I honestly still think. I wanted to show you guys too my setup here, so you guys can see that painting up there. I actually had that done in New York City. There was a painter that was doing it. He was airbrushing it. It's really nice here. I don't know if you can actually see that. And then I have a Pokemon poster over there. Up there I have a Joker 3D thing up there. And then I have my Mets thing up there. I don't have any Bears stuff that I put around my place yet. Surprisingly, I do need that. And then, of course, I have the coup de grace, my Bat Brand table that my cousin made me last Christmas, I think. But I just wanted to show that off real quick. Anyway, we'll jump right into this. Week 3, I'm going to highlight a few games. Some I may not because they weren't really that important. But one game I really want to highlight and jump on starting out is some teams that really disappoint me right now. And it's the Houston Texans. They're number one right on the top of that list because they're 0-3. And they were supposed to win that AFC. I think they're in the South. I'm almost pretty sure it's the AFC South. And they were favorites going into possibly with Deshaun Watson and that great offense and J.J. Watt coming back. They were favorites to possibly challenge the Jaguars. And of all teams, the Titans with Delaney Walker on IR, Marcus Mariota with a weird injury that with his funny bone or something with his arm, and they beat them this Sunday. That was a game that I'm not really going to focus on, but 9-6, you coming off of a game you just destroyed the New England Patriots, destroyed them, and Jacksonville just lays a big old dump right on the field up against the Titans in a battle of field goals. I mean, come on. Jacksonville, I understand good defense, all that stuff, but Tennessee's defense isn't exactly that good going into that from the first 2 games they played. I mean, maybe they could turn it around. Mike Vrabel is a very good defensive coach, but still, you're facing the Jaguars who had all this momentum in the world, and they just they do nothing on offense. I mean, I understand you had no Leonard Fournette, but you had no Leonard Fournette last week. And TJ Yeldon had a great game. Blake Bortles played out of his mind. And they still lost. I don't understand it. The Giants finally getting their first win. If you're a Giants fan, which I know my boy Vespi is. So congratulations to them. My boy Saquon Barkley did amazing. They are still technically in that. They're technically in that NFC East race still. So I mean, technically they're still there. But the Texans, I'm sorry, they just laid an egg, and I mean they're trying. They really are trying to win. It's not like they're just like they're not doing anything to they're not getting blown out every game, but. It just Watson is something's up with Watson. There's no run game really on that team, and um, they just they I don't know if it's just scheduling or what, but they just go out there and they just inconsistent. They are so inconsistent. And we had the Eagles and the Indianapolis Colts. Frank Wright coming back to the place where he coached last season um, in Philadelphia, and it was a good game. I really thought Indy was going to pull it out there in the end, but they had I think they had 2 or 3 chances there in the fourth quarter, and every time Andrew Luck either missed the pass, overthrew T.Y. Hilton in the end zone on that one play. I'm like, oh, come on, you had him, Andrew Luck, and it was also Carson Wentz's return. What do I think about Carson Wentz returning? How good did he? I think he did. He did okay for a quarterback that came back from blowing out his knee or whatever he had. I think it was ankle or knee. I'm not really sure. It was something to do with his leg. And he came back and did pretty good. He had a pretty good game, and for someone that did what he did and was coming back and first came back. But I mean, I can't complain. Hey, Elite Gamer, how's it going, my man? But I don't know. And then we go into the Green Bay Washington game, and let me just say, the owners need to get together and abolish this stupid, and I'm sorry, gay. It is a really gay move, or penalty. The roughing the passer. The roughing the passer calls. The Clay Matthews button called on them twice. Now, he's getting suspended, supposedly, from what I heard from a report, next game because of a hit he did on Jimmy. They were saying something about. They were saying something about something that thing that he was hit he did, and he's getting supposedly suspended for it. And 2 straight games now, he's been getting in trouble for this garbage. And we need to fix the whole roughing the passer penalty garbage, because this is getting freaking ridiculous of how bad this is getting. I mean, there were several calls in games I was watching, and I have people coming downstairs at the moment. Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, that was my brother running down and doing weird horse sounds, if you didn't know that. But anyway, segue off of that into what I want to talk about now. The Green Bay game against Washington. That wasn't a laugh. That was my brother making weird horse noises. So, they were, it was, Washington surprised me a little bit. I mean, I do think Washington, Alex Smith, they're better with Alex Smith. And Alex Smith is starting to hit his wide receivers, which the first 2 games he really wasn't doing. But I had Chris Thompson in fantasy, and I'm thinking, oh, no, he's going to go off. He laid an egg for me and did absolutely nothing. I was so upset because I had him, and I'm thinking, oh, he's going to do good, and he didn't. But if you're a Washington Redskins fan, you're liking what you're getting from him right now, from Alex Smith. He's done good for you. I don't think he's really turned the ball over that much. That offense is starting to pick it up, and the defense is very good against the pass. I think they're one of the top 10 in passing. They stopped Aaron Rodgers a lot yesterday, and I think they won like 34-17, 28-17, something like that. But they won that game, and it was a good one. Oakland ended up they're winless. Oakland, Chucky. I call John Gruden Chucky. He has this other side of him called Chucky. The Raiders are stupid. First, you get rid of Khalil Mack, which thank you for that, Raiders fans. Thank you so much for that. Then you have you 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 just get rid of all these players. You have Martavis Bryant, who you picked up, Jordy Nelson, all these washed up receivers that do nothing off that I would not want them on a team if I was putting a team together. I'm sorry. A guy who he got suspended again for drugs and lay off the weed and um and Jordy Nelson, who literally, I'm sorry, he's past his prime. Even though yesterday he had a really good game. I think he had like 4 catches for 151, 80, something around that. 151 yards in the first half. I think he ended up with 184 yards total. But he had a really good game. I remember looking at the score to start off. I'm like, holy crap, Jordy Nelson, where did he come from? You know? And but Miami, who was played behind most of the game, they came back, won again, and they are undefeated going into a matchup against the New England Patriots. And I'll be honest, I'm going to say it right now. They will beat the Patriots next week. If the Patriots play the way they did Sunday night last night, they're going to beat the New England Patriots. And they have a two-game lead on everyone in that division because the Patriots lost last night. And the Jets are 1-2, and so are the Bills, who are 1-2. So they are sitting pretty right now on the top of that AFC West or East, and it is about time. It is about damn time, because as someone who hates the New England Patriots and just wanted them to fail for so long, they're finally doing it. They're finally doing it. And, I mean, I should have saw it was coming with that, segueing into what I wanted to talk about, the Sunday Night Football game. I should have known that was going to happen. The Lions beating them and pummeling them 26-10, because Matt Patricia used to be the defensive coordinator for the Patriots. He knew every way to get underneath Tom Brady's skin. They controlled the tempo from the beginning, from the offset. They ran the ball. Brady had the ball twice, I think, in the first half. That's it. Maybe 3 times. Maybe 3 drives. I don't think he got the second drive until the second quarter, which is ridiculous. But I think he only had like over 100 yards passing. Tom Brady did. He didn't have much higher than that, but he had. And Kerryon Johnson finally, for the first time in a long, long time, an 100-yard rusher for the Detroit Lions. That's saying something. Someone that, I'm a Bears fan, I see the Lions a lot, knowing that they sucked running the ball for so many years makes me happy, because then I know the Bears are going to face them and it's going to be a good game to watch. And they're not, every time we place the Lions, it always comes down to a last-minute possession or something like that. Same thing with the other team I want to talk about, the Vikings. They got pummeled Sunday. That's the only thing I can say. They got straight up pummeled by possibly the worst team in the entire league, the Buffalo Bills. Who saw that coming? Kirk Cousins didn't do jack crap the whole first half. Nothing. And these guys are Super Bowl contenders. And they just went and the Josh Allen ran all over him. He chucked that ball around and they turned the ball over a lot too. Vikings did. And I think that's going to be a problem for him all season long. Don't quote me on that, but I think they're going to have problems with that. Especially because they didn't have Dalvin Cook. I don't know how long Dalvin Cook's going to be out, but that offense looked completely different without him in it. Completely different. And they face the Rams on Thursday coming up. Forget it. The Rams they're winning the Super Bowl this year with how good they did. They went up against the Chargers today and went or yesterday and went right down there and destroyed them. They weren't behind even once. I don't think they were even behind once in that game. That's how this Rams team is amazing. Now, Marcus Peters, their star corner they got from Kansas City, I'm a little worried about. He's going to be injured for like 2 to 4 weeks. I'm a little worried about that, maybe 6. I'm a little worried about that. That may affect their defense, but they'll still be fine. They still have the best defense in the league. I'll be completely honest. I mean, Jacksonville, the Rams, those two defenses are top tier right now in the league. Denver beat Baltimore, or no. Baltimore beat Denver. So whatever. Baltimore is Baltimore and Denver is Denver. They're roller coaster teams. They win one, lose one, win one, lose one. That's what they've been doing. And the team I like right now to win the AFC North, the Cincinnati Bengals, lost their first game to the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers are they're a mystery team. I don't know what you ever get from them from week to week. They could do really good offensively, or they could struggle all game long, or their defense could be destructive like they were against the Dallas Cowboys week 1, or they could be like they were in week 2 against Atlanta, or back to somewhat what they were in week 3. Cincinnati was all right. I mean, AJ Green getting hurt with that groin. You already lose Mixon. You lose AJ Green for a while. That really puts in a dent in you winning that division. But I just got to say this, too. I'm going to take a minute to congratulate the Cleveland Browns. I know I'm a little bit behind. I'm a couple days late. But the first win in over 2 years. And who did it? It wasn't Tyrod Taylor, though, all that money you gave him. It was the rookie, Baker Mayfield. And I don't know if they should have just jumped the gun and started him already. A lot of these teams are already starting rookie quarterbacks. Josh Rosen with the Cardinals, he was declared as a starter today. Baker Mayfield was declared as a starter today for the Browns. And I think there was another, and Josh Allen was declared a couple weeks ago. And Sam Darnold is also a starter in New York. So I don't know if they're jumping the gun a little quick, the Browns are, just because they got a win and he led them to a win. But hey, give him a shot. Let Tyrod Taylor heal that thumb or that broken finger he has, plus the concussion, because he's already going to have to be out for the next game. See what you have with him this game. If Baker doesn't perform the way you want to, you can just bring Tyrod right back in, and you'll be fine. But I do have to say, congratulations to them finally getting a win, and they could potentially compete this year. I don't see them getting a playoff berth, but they could compete this year, and that's just, I can just see them competing. Maybe an 8-8, 7-9, something like that, but getting more than 1 win this season. Maybe 4, maybe 5 wins. I don't see many more than that. Sorry, Cleveland fans, if you guys are there in the chat, if there is any Cleveland fans. What else did I want to speak about? There was some other good games on over the day. Seattle against Dallas. Seattle, they were in Seattle, first of all. So, and I was telling my buddy Clint, we were watching the game, I said, they're already playing in Seattle, so that's a win for Seattle there. They're always better at home. And Dallas looked like they did in week 1. The first drive, I noticed it, and I said, you know what, they're not going to win this game. They're not, because they look like they did week 1, and this is what they're going to do. Dallas is going to be another one of those roller coaster teams. Get ready for it, guys. If you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, get ready for a roller coaster ride all season long, because as I said, I think after my week one on my week one preview, that they're gonna this is what's gonna happen. This is what you're gonna have to live with all season long because Dak Prescott is not the answer quarterback. He's not. He's not. If you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, he's not. Because he's not a pocket passer, and you're trying to turn him into one. Jason Garrett is trying to turn him into a pocket passer. He was never a pocket passer in Mississippi State. He was a scrambling quarterback. And you can tell that by them trying to turn him into something he's not. Zeke, no line because they have no Travis Frederick, whatever the freaking heck the disease he has. And it says it's true what they say. You don't have a good center, your line's going to fall apart. And it shows because Zeke is not having Zeke-like days like he normally does. He's still having good days. He's still rushing for about 74 yards, 94, right around 100, but he's not going off. Like Zeke should be going off against Seattle. They should be going off against the defense, the Giants, and he didn't. He ran for like 74, 84 yards or something like that. He didn't even break 100. That's a shame. That is a shame. The Dallas Cowboys need to call up Dez Bryant or some wide receiver and say, hey, we need you. They should have traded for Josh Gordon, but they got beat by the Patriots, and the Patriots picked him up. And the Patriots will probably never use him. Even though everyone's saying that they're comparing him to Randy Moss and he's gonna have a Randy Moss-like season. Get the heck out of here. He's injured all the time. His last good season was 2013. And he's in trouble for drugs all the time. That's the reason why they cut him. Or they were gonna cut him. And they decided they were trading him because he supposedly came in the facility high on Saturday or Sunday, one of the days. And they decided to trade him. So that they just need to call up a wide receiver. And I still don't like the kicker they have. The kicker they have is not the answer kicker. They should never got rid of Dan Bailey. That's the fact that they did is stupid. But that's all I'm going to say about that. I'll go on a tangent if I keep talking about it. But the game I really want to talk about, I really want to focus on, is the Chicago Bears coming from behind and beating the Arizona Cardinals, which shouldn't have happened against Arizona. I mean, we should have pummeled them. We should have walked right up and down the field each time and pummeled them. But we started off slow, gave up 14 points, down 14 points. Trubisky was missing his receivers, wasn't really doing much. But we were running the ball good with that thunder and lightning of Tariq Cohen and Pig Howard. I still call him Pig. He was called Pig in college, so I've always called him that. But I will say this, that they kind of remind me of Chris Johnson and Lendell White back in the day. If you guys remember that duo. If you needed a guy who was shifty and could give you needed a 10-yard run or a really good screen play, or you could put him anywhere on the field, Chris Johnson was your guy. You wanted a good power run, 3-4 yards, just power that run, knock some people out. Lendell White was your guy. And I honestly think that this is like they need to keep doing what they were doing, running the ball that way, because it worked. It really did work. But I found out we're actually top tier in time of possession. I think we're second or third, and we're second in time of possession behind the Eagles, I think, which is really good. I mean, that's what the goal is. We want to control the ball the longest. But I am kind of disappointed in our offense because I was expecting us, so far in the season going in and just blowing up the scoreboard because we got Matt Nagy as our head coach. But it takes time to learn the system. It takes time to do this. There's still a lot of season to go. I think the points will start coming. We will start doing stuff, and we got an easy schedule going forward here very soon. And I will say this, Khalil Mack is defensive MVP. I'm sorry. He's going to be defensive player of the year, hands down. J.J. Watt is not going to challenge him. Von Miller's not going to challenge him. Who is there defensively right now this year? Anybody in the chat got an idea who could challenge Khalil Mack for defensive player of the year this year? Didn't think so. 3 straight games, he has had a sack and a strip. A sack and a forced fumble, I guess it was. Sack, forced fumble, or fumble recovery, or something like that. I read that stat, I think, on Sunday. And that's something right there. And this defense is better with him in it. And Khalil Mack wants to prove something. He wants to prove something to the whole entire NFL, that all this stuff about him, them talking, saying he's not good, he's washed up, he quit on his team, is a lie, because he's going to lead this defense. He's going to lead this defense, and that's what he's doing this year. He's leading this defense and bringing it up to another level, and he has, because we're number 3 overall in total defense. I looked at it last night. Number 3 overall in total defense behind the Rams. And that may change because the Lions were up there, but they played last night. We're the number 1 rush defense. And I think we're number 3 against the pass, which is really, really, really good. And if you're a Bears fan, you're getting excited for that. Because this defense reminds you of the old 06 Bears, that good defensive decade that we had. Now, if we had a better offense, we probably would have won more Super Bowls than one. Well, no, we didn't win any. We would have went to more Super Bowls than one, I will say that. We should have won that Super Bowl if it wasn't for Rex stinking freaking Grossman. Just don't get me started on him. I don't like him, and I hated Lovie Smith for it for years. Okay? But I do like where this team's going. Playing the Buccaneers next week, and then the Dolphins. Those are going to be... There's going to be 2 games where they're both undefeated, but Buccaneers an easy defense. Dolphins, we don't know what... Dolphins look like a good team so far this year. I mean, I know they haven't really played anybody, but they do look like a good team. Tannehill looks like he's has something to prove this year. And then we have a bye when we play the Patriots. We're going to find out how good they are week 7 against the New England Patriots. But I think if we can get them early on in the season, which we are, that would be the best time for us to get them. The Lions set a plan on how to beat them. We need to follow that plan, I think, because that's how you beat Tom Brady. Pressure him a lot, force him to make bad throws, just pressure him constantly, and cover his receivers. That's the main thing. Chris Hogan hasn't done anything, but Julian Edelman will be back by the time of that. So I really want to see what we'll look like up against a team like that. But after that, we got the Jets, Bills. We don't really play the Vikings until later. We play the Lions, I think, but we don't play the Vikings until later on in the season, and we don't play the Packers till late. And the fact that, and we're in the lead in the division, which gets me super excited. I know it's early in the season. I know it's only week 3. I know that, but let me have this moment, okay? Let me have this moment, because this doesn't happen much. The Bears are leading the division 2-1. I think the Packers are 1-1-1, and so are the Vikings, and the Lions are 1-2, 1-2. So we have at least a 1.5 game lead on everyone in the division, which is good. And we don't play any division games going forward soon, so we are gonna sit pretty at the top of that division for a while. And that gets, let's go. Let's go. If you're a Bears fan, type down that Bear down in the chat. But I'm curious, everyone who in the chat, if you are a fan, what is your fan? What's your team? I know Elite Gamer, if he was in there, he said he was a Green Bay Packer fan, which I wonder how he felt about that loss yesterday. My buddy Clint, if he was on here, he is a Dallas Cowboy fan, and he was ticked about that loss, ticked. And I mean, they're gonna get a win next Sunday, I think, but it's gonna be a roller coaster ride for them. It really is. The New Orleans game, I didn't even touch on that. New Orleans and Atlanta. It took overtime, and New Orleans won. That division right now, everyone is 2-1 or better. Everyone in that division is going to fight for that crown this year, and I still think it's going to be. I still kind of like the Buccaneers because they follow that thing worst to first. They've done it every year for the last 10, 15 years. Whatever team finishes last always finishes first. I don't know why. But I think the Bucs could keep that trend going this year. Especially if they keep playing the way they're playing and keep playing Fitzmagic. He is amazing, and he's super smart too with that Harvard degree. But New Orleans came from behind, won it. Alvin Kamara is an absolute beast, catching 14 passes. 14! And running for over 68, 70 some yards. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. Knowing that he did that, and just, oh my God. He is out of this world. And you know, he's actually 5th in the league in receiving. A running back. 5th in the league in receiving. That's nuts. And receptions. He's 5th in the league in freaking receptions. But I mean, Mark Ingram comes back here in a couple weeks, so we'll see what happens there with Alvin Kamara. If he's going to go down in touches. Because Mark Ingram technically he's technically the starter. But, I mean, at least for this season, Mark Ingram's going to be gone at the end of the season, obviously. Because Alvin Kamara has taken over that position. And he's going to be the starter going forward. But I'm kind of, in a fantasy standpoint, me not having Alvin Kamara, I kind of want his touches to go down. But New Orleans, every year, I say it. And Drew Brees broke a record on Sunday, too. I wanted to talk about that. He broke Brett Favre's record for most career completions. And that's something that Tom Brady can't say, Peyton Manning can't say, but Drew Brees can. Drew Brees, and I tell all my friends this too, and this is crazy for what I'm about to say, but let me say this, okay? Before you put me on a pike, Drew Brees, in my mind, is the best quarterback of all time. When it's all said and done, record-wise and projection-wise and everything he's done, just look at his stats. Completions percentage. Best ever. Best ever. His completion percentage right now, if he would retire today, would be a record because it is the best ever. I think it's over 70% completion percentage, which is No quarterback in the league can say that. No quarterback even comes close to that completion percentage he has. Um, what else? He has the most completions now. Um, he has the best quarterback rating of all time. Um, over over Hall of Fame quarterbacks and all that stuff. So saying that, I mean, if he retired today, he would be the best quarterback of all time. Yes, he only has one Super Bowl ring, but I don't worry about that. I worry about in a game, no holds barred. You're not, the stats, the stats, the numbers. He's close to Brett Favre's touchdown number too. He's gonna break that. He he's gonna break the yardage record because he always throws for the most yards in the league every year. Every year he does this, godly numbers. Every year he throws for almost over 5,000 passing yards. Because I think last year he didn't, but which was the first time in a long time he didn't reach over 5,000. But that is amazing. The fact that Drew Brees and even look at the record books. When you're done with this, look at the record books for most passing yards in a season. And look how many times Drew Brees is up there. Look at how many times Drew Brees doesn't throw a lot of touchdowns in a season. He's not up there in your passing records for touchdowns. I think maybe once or twice, he got up there pretty high. But Drew Brees is the most accurate quarterback of all time. I will say that. But enough about me going on about Drew Brees. I'm going to talk about one more game here, and then I'll go into the preview for tonight's game. The Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. KC. This team is dangerous. Now, the defense doesn't scare me even a bit, but this Patrick Mahomes kid, he's playing like he's back at Texas Tech. This kid is amazing. 13 touchdowns. First quarterback ever in his first 3 games to throw this many touchdowns. The most of all time. And he's going berserk on all these teams. He's not playing just little teams. I think he's played some good teams. The Chargers. He's faced the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he threw up almost 7 touchdowns. He almost had a record for most touchdown passes in a game against the Steelers. And then he did what he did against San Fran. And let me just say, this kid is going to be something special. He could be MVP this season. He's the early favorite for MVP. That's how good this Mahomes kid is right now. Like, where no one saw this. No one expected this. They expected him to have growing pains in the beginning, like turning the ball over a lot. No, but this is what Andy Reid does. He's smart. He grooms quarterbacks, and he is a great quarterback guru. And this is what he does with quarterbacks. He revived Alex Smith's career in Kansas City. And he's molding this future star in Patrick Mahomes. And that offense is terrifying. You have Sammy Watkins, Tyreek Hill, who can score on any play, Travis Kelce, who is a beast of a man, who's literally Gronk in Kansas City, in a Kansas City uniform. Let me say that. And then you have Kareem Hunt, who is a dual threat, running and pass catching. I honestly don't see anybody in the AFC West who can beat them. I mean, they'll lose a few games against Denver and stuff because they're division rivals. They'll lose some. But until they face the Patriots in a couple weeks, I don't see it happening. I don't see them being challenged. This Kansas City team is something to behold. I'm telling you what, man. This Mahomes guy, I can't, like, I watched him in Texas Tech, but he never did the stuff that he did. I mean, he threw for some godly numbers every game, but not to the extent of this. I mean, that's berserk. And I like him going forward. I have him on my fantasy team, and I'm just like, oh, this kid, I might as well start him every week going forward, unless it's a bad matchup. I mean, I have Phillip Rivers and Patrick Mahomes, so you can't really go. I mean, I can play matchup to matchup with them. Um, and But the game I want to talk about tonight is the Pittsburgh Squealers. Yeah, I called them the Squealers against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Ryan Fitzmagic. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Fitzmagic is alive and well. Oh, well, mate. That was a really bad Conor McGregor impression. But yeah, it is alive and well. And the fact that the Buccaneers are 2-0 right now is amazing. They haven't played bad teams. The teams that they've blown out so far to this year has been New Orleans and the Philadelphia Eagles. New Orleans was a playoff team last year, and Philly, well, you know what Philly was last year, the world champs. And they blew both of them out by halftime. They're facing the Pittsburgh Steelers, who just gave up all those yards to Patrick Mahomes. That defense sucks in Pittsburgh. And you mean to tell me Fitzmagic isn't going to do what he did the last 2 weeks against this team? They'll go. I'm going to be bold right now and say the Bucs are going to beat the Steelers. And the Steelers are going to have the worst start in the last 10 years because of Fitzmagic and this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. Now, their defense, it may be a shootout tonight because their defense sucks almost as bad as the Steelers. But their run defense is actually top in the league, technically, because technically they're top in the league at this moment. But tonight they'll switch around. The Bears will probably take the top spot. But one sec. Really? Sorry about that. Anyway, but yeah, I honestly think that the Steelers, they're going to make it a game. They are going to make it a game, but I do think the Bucs are going to win, and it will set up Week 4 nicely. But this is all the time I have for this episode. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Hope you guys did enjoy this live stream. Thank you for all that came out too. Talked, put in the chat. Said who your favorite team was, different stuff like that. And I hope whatever team you guys root for, that, unless they're the Green Bay Packers or the Vikings or the Lions, have a great season this year. No offense to the Green Bay Packer fans out there, but and Vikings and Lions fans, but as a Bears fan, and Pittsburgh Steelers fans, even though you're not going to win that division this year, sorry, especially the way you guys are playing right now, and Dallas Cowboy fans, sorry, you're not going to win that division this year. It's not going to happen. Philly is too good, and right now, so is Washington. But thank you guys so much for coming out. I'm probably going to try, I may record a video tonight of one of my series. Thank you guys so much for watching too. And as always, stay awesome, my Dark Knights. Peace.